to Sofa Sessions with, and in my next episode, I am thrilled to be joined by Samuel Haughton. Now, Samuel is one of my friends, very official calling you Samuel as well. Sam's one of my friends.
And never call me that.
And is a performer. He's an actor in the industry. He has been for years. So he's going to fill us in a little bit on his journey, his story. He's currently in the School of Rock, the UK tour of School of Rock. And he's going to share some inside information for other performers, for actors, if you're interested in the industry. Hi, Sam, how are you?
Hi, I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about you? Fill us in first.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sam. I'm an actor. I'm not just repeating your introduction. I'm an actor. I've been in the industry for 9 years. That's a long time. I live in Southeast London with my parents. Whoop. I trained at the Guildford School of Acting. And as you quite rightly said, I'm currently on the UK tour of School of Rock. Whoop. Holla.
Oh, amazing. So you've said you've been in the industry for years. So why don't you talk us through how those years have been, what you've been doing in those years, auditions, jobs, etc., things like that.
So many things. Where to begin? Okay, so I graduated 2012. I was 21. I graduated without an agent. I was one of about 10 people in my year at Guildford. Who graduated without an agent. I assumed because of that I was untalented and never going to work. But I self-represented for 6 months. I self-submitted on Spotlight. I self-submitted on what was Casting Call Pro, which I believe is now called Mandy Actors. I did that for about 6 months and worked. I did some great workshops of new musicals, some new writing stuff, which is really, really cool. Just that those projects were particularly great lessons in me just kind of owning my skill set. And I think because it was all new writing, there was no precedent for what these characters should be. And so I kind of felt I was able to bring a lot to the table and bring suggestions. And no, not every suggestion was taken on board because some of them were awful and some of them were not in keeping with what the writers wanted. But it really trained my mind to look at work and scripts and songs and the overall picture in a different way, and I'm very grateful for that. And then in the October after I graduated, I did a performance of Tick Tick Boom, which is coming out on Netflix, and I can't wait to see it. That'll bring back some. Sorry, not my performance. There's a film version that they've made. That I believe Lin-Manuel Miranda produced, I think. It's coming out on Netflix and I can't wait to see it. Anyway, so I did that show, and that's where I signed with my very first agent. And then just to drop in on what you said in terms of since then, I've been very fortunate to get some great acting work. I've done Fringe Theatre, I've done Edinburgh Fringe. It nearly killed me, but it was the best summer. I've done international jobs. I'm now doing my first big commercial UK tour, which is very cool. But I cannot emphasize this enough, dropped in, peppered in all those years, is working in retail, is working in events, is dressing up in suits of monsters at a shopping center for hours. That has never stopped. Even up until today, I still have my side hustles that I do alongside my acting work to keep me going, to keep money coming in when the acting work finishes or when I'm in between jobs. I never wanted to look like I got this job and now I don't have to do any other work ever again. No, my as well as jobs continue, and they will for many, many years. And actually I love them and I'm very grateful for them. So yeah, that's been me for the past 9 years in a nutshell.
Amazing. Yeah, that's really cool. And do you know, it's really nice actually how you've mentioned other things and how important it is to have other things that you enjoy, that you like, that you don't mind doing. I mean, we've all had jobs that we absolutely despised, don't get me wrong. That is muggle life, unfortunately. That sometimes you do have to do work that you don't want to do to survive. But it's nice that you, in that time, have managed to find things as well as acting that run alongside, that you can do, that earn you money, that you like doing.
Yeah.
And then there's not as much pressure on you having to book jobs and you having to be in work.
Right. And I tell you what, it allows you to be, when I say selective, I don't think I'm picky. I don't think I'm a picky performer. It does allow me to just look and think, and think, do I really want to do this? Am I going to be able to sustain this? Like, you know, does this excite me in the way, you know, because I think actors kind of from drama school are trained to be very grateful and trained to be grateful for any job that comes your way. And yes, there is an element of that, but as I've gotten older, I've kind of become more aware of perhaps trying to steer my career and take ownership. And with that comes the ability to choose and think, am I going to be happy in this situation? Because if I'm not happy in this situation, I'm not going to do my job to the best of my ability. And that just completely defeats the object of the exercise. Yeah, so I'm grateful for my as well as jobs.
Yeah, brilliant. So why don't we, you're very bright, you're very cheery as a person.
Hi.
But has there been hard times? Let's like look in on some of the maybe more difficult times. Like, is there a moment that stands out to you that was a really hard moment? Have you ever thought, this is really hard, I could give up? Like, has there ever been a moment where you've thought, maybe this isn't for me?
I love that you're asking this question, Gemma. You've been there for them, like dear watchers. Me and Gemma go way back. Like, she's been there through the tough times. Of course. Oh my goodness, of course. I'm now trying to think of just one example that I remember I used to say, kind of particularly when I first graduated, and whilst I was doing jobs that I was very grateful for, they were not particularly well paid. And I was having to work like 4 jobs at the same time. And it kind of all felt a bit relentless. And I remember I kind of got into a habit of looking myself in a mirror. And if I could wake up every morning and say, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm happy doing, then it was what I would continue to do. Sometimes, some days I would go back to that mirror 10 times a day to be like, is this really what I want to do? And like, you know, deep down the answer was always yes. 2 or 3. I'm gonna give you 3. You can edit them out if you want. But there are 3 particular moments that stand out. One of them was right when I met you. Just for context, dear watchers, me and Gemma met doing class together, along with some very other talented beings who I would say we basically become like a little urban family, like, you know, and everyone's off doing different things and just caning it. But in order to do that, we all deeply, deeply rely on the support that we get from our friends, our family, and from each other. I don't think any of us would be where we are without, I'm getting emotional, without the others. What a loser. But anyway, so we met in class, and before that class, I'd this sounds very privileged. I'd turned down one job because another audition had come in that I wanted to do that job, and I thought I had a good chance at it. And then I didn't get that job either. And I just had a moment of, what am I doing? What an idiot. And it wasn't so much the losing of jobs, it was the calling into question, why am I doing this? What is my long-term aim? I felt like I'd lost my direction a little bit. And I think my confidence had been knocked a little bit. It turned out fine. One of the other jobs ended up coming back and I did it, so it was all okay. But that's definitely a moment that kind of sticks out. I remember crying in my kitchen a lot, thinking, what am I doing? Am I ever going to do this job in the way that I want to do it? That was a big moment. But that moment kind of gave me the time to refocus and also proved to me how much I do love it and how much I do want it. Skip forward, I want to say like 8 months. And again, you were there for this. We were doing another class together. For various reasons, personal, professional, all the above, I was not in a good headspace. And I was like, I just want to run away. In fact, I believe I'd said, I'm just going to run away and escape. And then I got up and sang the song I'd Rather Be Sailing from A New Brain and cried. And it was really awkward. So that was real fun. But I tell you what, my lesson on that was, again, I think that was the moment where I was just pushing myself very hard. And that was a big lesson in being nicer to myself and being a bit more gentle with myself. And actually, as performers, we ask a lot of ourselves. And I don't think we always acknowledge that. And so my lesson since that moment, which I keep on relearning, is just to be a bit more chill and relaxed. And the final moment I will hit you with is this past year we've had. I am very fortunate that discussions around this tour that I'm now privileged to be doing happened right at the beginning of the pandemic. So I did have a little guiding light to kind of get me through what's been a very tough year, 18 months for a lot of people. But in the midst of that, I was kind of like, and I think all performers had this. It's like, can I deal with this uncertainty? Can I deal with this lifestyle? I am now in a relationship as well. But I now feel a sense of responsibility to my lovely boyfriend and also to our future. And we do talk about it sometimes. And he's never like, you need to give up. But I'm always kind of like, matching up what I want our future to be, what we want our future to be, and where we're at now. How do I get there? Conversations do come up about how much longer am I going to perform, but then it kind of always loops around to, I still love this, I still want to do this, I still feel like I have more to do here, and that's where we still find ourselves, dear watcher. So yes, short answer to your question, Gemma, 100%. There have been hard times. There have been times where I think, I don't want to do this anymore. Not actually, never I don't want to. Always I can't. I don't feel like I can. I don't feel like I have any more to give. But I found out that in amongst all those moments, there is a very important lesson for me to learn. And those are the moments that I take. Those are the moments that carry me through. Those are the moments that help you through the next tricky moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, yeah, you took me back a little bit there on some of those moments and journey.
I remember the tears well.
Oh, you weren't the only one though, were you? Let's be honest. We've all been there, we've all done that. And if you're watching this and you haven't been there or done that yet, then you will at some point. But hopefully you've got a supportive enough network of family, friends that will get you through and put you back on track anyway, and remind you how incredible you are and how you're born to do this, you've worked really hard, keep going, like, yeah. So yeah, definitely. So that's kind of sort of a difficult journey. Let's highlight some of your best moments. Like, what are your career highlights, or what's one of your favorite moments in your career so far?
Anytime the phone rings, I am a happy man. No. Yes, I mean, yes, don't get me wrong. I tell you what, I think I feel very fortunate that I look back over the jobs that I've done and they sound ridiculous when I say them out loud. Like, I did Spamalot in Germany, I did School of Rock in South Korea. I am grateful for the sheer breadth of opportunities that there are out there for performers. And that I've been lucky to get. Favorite jobs so far, genuinely all of them, because again, like the bad moments, I believe that there's a lesson to learn in every job that I do. And that's very cool. I'm gonna shout out for I've been fortunate enough to do 2 shows at upstairs at the Gatehouse in Highgate. My first one there was a production of Singing in the Rain, and that was a very nice step up for me in my career at that time. I hounded that casting director into seeing me, and like the last, I think auditions were on a Monday, last thing on a Friday, they were like, we'll see you first thing Monday, and I was like, okay, rocked up, like I had to get up so early to get there, was dressed like basically in costume. I just worked my socks off for that audition. And John and Katie Plews, I will shout out. They took I'd say they took a chance on me. And I'm very grateful and will continue to be. I then went back and did Top Hat there. That was also a riot. Like, that was absolutely just so much fun. I would say Spamalot at the English Theatre Frankfurt was was great. That was kind of my biggest show up until that point. It happened very, very quickly. I think I flew out like a couple of days after Christmas. I was in the show by the new year. That was nuts and a delightfully ridiculous fun show to do. That was awesome. School of Rock in South Korea was incredible. Not only do I love doing this show, but to do it in South Korea, which is such a beautiful country that I just probably wouldn't have elected to go to just because it's very far away and not on my radar. We were treated so well. The people out there are so beautiful. That was very cool. And then I'm going to throw out, I did just before doing the UK tour, I did a play about Howard Ashman, the Disney lyricist. And that was very cool. It was cool to do a show kind of in COVID times. There were lots of restrictions that we kind of had to navigate around. But that piece is beautifully written, and it brought me face to face with a lot of fears, I suppose, and a lot of issues that I'm dealing with in my personal life, and it was quite weirdly therapeutic. I had also auditioned for that new writing festival for 8 years and never once got a look in, and I finally did it. So that was cool. That felt like I ticked it off the list. That's a nice tale of sheer perseverance. So
absolutely. Cool, awesome. Yeah, some really lovely moments. So let's have a look and let's talk about, obviously, School of Rock. You're in it at the moment. You did it in South Korea, and then obviously slightly more of a break than was intended due to the pandemic, but you're now in the tour. Like, how is tour life? Like, talk us through your life currently, like a day in the show. Talk us through your track. Tell us everything.
There's so much to say. First of all, though, I want to go back, because before I did it in South Korea, I did audition for it in town and didn't even get a recall. So there you go. Another lesson in, just because I feel like we have this thing about if you audition for something and you don't get it, it means you're never going to get it. Absolutely not. That also, me not getting it is not a reflection on anyone else, apart from the fact I did an appalling audition. Anyway, persevere, people. So where are we at the moment? I'm currently in Sunderland. I arrived here late last night. We are just getting into the stage in the show where we're kind of getting into the groove a little bit more, because we have a gazillion very talented children. We've kind of been in daytime rehearsals as well to make sure that I think it works out as about like 3 teams, but then because of distances they have to travel, they've all kind of been subdivided. And I don't really understand it. I'm really grateful it's not my job. But we've been in daytime rehearsals for a long time because all the kids need to be teched in, all the kids need to be dress rehearsed in. So we're finally just kind of emerging from that, ready to go into first cover rehearsals and second cover rehearsals, which will probably take us up to Christmas, and then there'll be a cast change and we'll have more kids to rehearse in. So it's a lot, but very grateful. My track in the show, so I'm second cover for Ned Schneebly. Now, Ned Schneebly is not the same character as Dewey Finn. Dewey Finn is called Ned Schneebly throughout most of the show, and that's where there's confusion. I am the real Ned Schneebly. Please stand up. So I am the second cover for that role. And then my day-to-day track, I start off as a roadie in the opening number, where you would not notice me unless you knew I was there. I do a very quick cross as a character called Stanley, who is the record store owner who fires Dewey. I then do a very quick change into Mr. Williams, who is one of the 2 dads of Tamika. If you haven't seen the show or the film, these names mean nothing, but come and see us. I do Mr. Williams. I then change into a teacher for a very quick scene. Then I change back into Mr. Williams for another scene. Then I change back into my teacher for a staff room scene. Then I'm back into roadie. That's the end of Act 1. I start Act 2 as teacher. I then am in a rowdy bar at the back again. You wouldn't see me unless you knew I was there. Then I am back into Mr. Williams for the rest of the show. And that's very cool, because in my career track, I still had another 3 changes to go after that point. So I'm quite grateful to slow it
It's
down.
a lot of changing.
It's a lot of changes. It's a lot of basically the way the show is structured for the adult, every adult is you're definitely a teacher, you are definitely a parent. And then mainly the boys have some other kind of cameo characters to play. Yeah, a lot of changing. But it's a really fun show. We are basically in most venues for about a week. So we arrive, we do a quick kind of top and tail of scenes and that kind of stuff. Figure out any logistic problems. So like quick change is quite a big one. We've also been in theatres where there's no on stage cross to the other side. Sometimes you have to go under, and so it's figuring that out. Yeah, it's just kind of a bit of troubleshooting in each venue to kind of see how does this new space affect what I do. Where does this quick change now happen? Where is this prop going to be? That kind of stuff. And then we open, and then we go through, and then our incredible tech team do a get out and then do another get in, and they are remarkable, and I love them all, and they work so hard.
So you've got the same team in every theatre you go to, or is it a different team?
It's a of kids or tech team.
Oh, both.
Oh, hit me with it. So the kids do rotate, they interchange. There are rules about distances traveled and total hours worked and those kind of things that our brilliant children's coordinating team sort out. So they are varied. They do switch in, switch out. I don't know this in advance, so I just kind of rock up and I'm like, oh, hi, it's you tonight, great. That's always a nice surprise. And then I forget, and then I go back on for the parents' night scene. I'm like, oh, it's you, great. Our tech team, we have like a core team that travel with us, and then they are kind of topped up by local crew. Sure. So we have, I want to say about 3-4 wardrobe team that travel with us. And then we get, again, about another 3-4 local dressers. Crew-wise, I'm not sure what the ratio is. But they're brilliant. And I find that I like the fact that the local crew just kind of rock up and just learn the show in a day and still are there with your pants the right way around that you need them for a quick change. Like, they just know this stuff. And I'm like, that scares me. Like, the thought of me having to learn that is terrifying. So they're all brilliant. They're excellent. We're very lucky to have them all.
Oh, that's good. That's awesome. Fab. Okay, so how long? Your contract's till next year, isn't it? Beginning of next year.
Till August, yeah.
Oh, end of next year, of course. I'm trying to keep up with the change of dates.
Yeah, there's been we've been rolling and changing. Yeah, so we are currently contracted until the end of August next year.
Fab. So you've got a lot of venues to still go around.
Yeah, we're literally just at the beginning. It's weird because it feels like because we're approaching Christmas, which I think once upon a time was like the original start and finish time. So because we're approaching Christmas, we're all like, oh, we feel like really far in, and then no, but we still got a lot further to do in 2022, which is great. Don't get me wrong, not whinging about that at all.
It's great that they extended it and didn't just say, well, do you know what? Yeah, we're just going to finish it here.
Right, our producers have been so lovely and have always kind of kept us in the loop about date changes. I think we were originally supposed to start this January gone.
Yeah.
Then it got pushed back to May. Then it got pushed back to August. And they've just been so transparent. They've been so trusting of the show to keep it going and not just be like, you know what, hands off, you're all without a job. Like, we'll figure it out again in a couple of years. Yeah, I'm extremely, extremely grateful to them for this.
Yeah, that's great. That's really, really good. And obviously, when you did it in South Korea, you did that for a couple of months, didn't you?
Yeah, that was. I think we were out there 5 months in total. I want to say about a month of that was rehearsals, and then we were in Seoul for about 3 months. I think we were in Busan for like 3 weeks, and then Daegu for about a week.
Oh, nice. Did you get to travel a lot while you were there?
Yeah, it was very cool. We did like daily excursions to various places. I then also the different producers, GWB, they were lovely. I asked if I could delay my flight back I think I did by 2 weeks, and they said, yep, no problem. And so then once we'd finished, and a few of us ended up doing this, we went to Japan
Yeah, that's
Which
awesome.
happened around there. It was a very, very cool experience.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Japan. I never got there. Not that it's actually that close to Hong Kong, but I went many places, but not.
But like when you're over there, you kind of feel like, well, I'm this far. I might as well, like, again, like you said, they're not geographically that close, but you're like, I'm more in the area than I ever have been before.
Yeah.
So I might as well check it all out while I'm here. Yeah, I think I ended up doing Japan because it was the one place where there wasn't like a visa application situation. Also, Japan is lovely. Like, yeah, it's incredible. I thoroughly recommend it.
Okay, let's move on to advice for other performers. Like, what are your top tips for? In fact, let's look at recent graduates first, or maybe people about to graduate. So everyone in sort of the graduate bubble about to recently.
My advice to all grads is if you still want to do this, keep going. It's not easy, but if you want to do it enough, you will keep going. And this isn't meant to be condescending, but if you're already finding I don't know, then do take a hot second to think about if you actually want to do this, because it's not going to get any easier. Yeah, perseverance. I wish I could sell it in bottle form to everyone and be like, keep going, keep being relentless, keep being ruthless. My big thing for grads, and actually this was from me, and this isn't me pointing fingers at drama schools, but my advice to grads from any time zone kind of making their way in the big wide world is to find out and explore and discover where you live in this gloriously broad, beautiful, colorful, varied industry. Because in drama school, there were like 60 people in my year, and you find yourself pigeonholed into where you fit relatively within those 60 people. The industry is thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people, wide and long, and, any direction. And so, take a bit of time to figure out what do you have now in this completely new context. I often got the old man parts because I've looked like this since I was about 18. But, in the real world, there are older men who can play the old man parts. So all of a sudden I was kind of like, oh, what do I play then? And, I am very grateful that I had the time to kind of figure that out and explore some options. I'd say never stop investing in yourself. Enjoy that. Don't look at classes as punishment. Look at it literally as a cash investment in yourself and in your soul. And also, go explore your things that aren't performing related. Go do your yoga, do your pottery, do your painting, whatever. Like, find those other things that add to you as a human. Elizabeth Gilbert has a book called Big Magic, and in it she touches on the fact that when creativity is your job, you need to find another creative outlet that isn't, because your creative outlet and your job aren't the same thing. They kind of require conflicting values. So treat acting as a job, find another creative outlet. Yeah.
Cool, that's really exciting. I think as well, I mean, for 2021 graduates, definitely, they have been well equipped with everything they're ever going to need. They've got show reels, and I mean, I know a lot of colleges, if they've done it right, have set them up with a dance reel, singing reel, or like a videoed showcase performance that they can use. And so, it's not as, I mean, when I think back to around the time that we were graduating, I was one of the first people I knew to ever get a vocal reel done.
Yeah.
Like back in the day when singing demos started, like I went in the studio with Mitch and was like singing a few songs, just so that I had some footage of me singing and my nan could listen to it. But it wasn't a standard thing. Whereas now, I think if you go on someone's Spotlight profile and there isn't performance footage, you kind of wonder why.
Yeah.
And I think as a casting director, they're probably just going to overlook you if you don't have that sort of stuff. So I do think 2021 grads are well equipped with things like that, and they're prepared for a bit more of like sort of the Zoom audition and self-tape world, maybe a little bit, despite the fact that they're probably a bit over it. They are more well equipped. I think 2020 grads, you know, will forever be known as the, you know, mid-pandemic graduates.
The virtual grads. I tell you what, 2020 grads, if you're over it, like, enjoy the fact that you have become used to this. For reasons, you know, which I've spoken about, I haven't auditioned for a couple of years now. I haven't had to. I think I had to do one Zoom audition for the play that I mentioned. You know, and so it's still quite an unknown thing to me, and I'm a bit like, oh, about it. So enjoy the fact that you know it, enjoy the fact that you're versed in that, and run into that, like, enjoy it, lean into it.
Yeah, own that you have trained in the pandemic and you've come out the other side actually stronger and equipped with more tools.
And you're still here. You're still here.
Absolutely. So let's look at some advice and some tips for people that have been in the industry a while. So maybe they've been in for a couple of years, maybe they've been in the industry forever, maybe they've taken a break and come back, like people that are veterans almost. What's your advice for them?
I think it's the advice I'd give myself. It's kind of look at what do you want to do? Where do you want to be? How are you going to get there? You know, strategize. I think I get frustrated with performers who lean a lot on their agents. And I've learned this from work that I've done on the other side of that table as well. Your agent can't do everything for you. You've kind of got to, you know, equip them. The amount of people that I know who are like, oh, I really want to start exploring TV and film. Okay, where's your show reel? You don't have one. Then how is your agent supposed to be getting you in for anything? Are you going to classes with these casting directors? We are, you know, the industry is delightfully lousy with classes with casting directors now. There are so many options. Just get into one. And you might find that, you know what, maybe you don't want to pursue TV and film as much as you thought you did. I have this regularly with TV and film. I've been saying probably for about the past 5 years that I need to diversify my CV. And yet I haven't taken any steps to do it. So now I'm kind of like, do I actually want to do that? Leave it with me. We'll see where it takes me in a few years' time. But I think just really hone in on what you want to do and don't listen to what you should be doing, what we think we should be doing. And then strategizing how you're going to get there. Think about keeping the industry fresh for yourself. It can get stale. It can feel a little bit run of the mill. So what are you going to do to change that? Do you need to have, I'm not saying you need to change your agent, but you need to have a conversation with them about where you want to be, what you want to pursue. Do you need to do new headshots? Do you need to do, side note, I also think people's first port of call for changing things will be new headshots. And it's like, guys, it's just a picture of your face.
Yeah, I think with headshots, I mean, I had a chat with Charlotte from CMR Photography, who
amazing.
I think you know anyway. Like we were saying, like you don't just go and have your headshot taken because it's a nice picture of your face. Like you go to portray, you know, you go to show your casting, and the whole point of the headshot is to show you and where you fit in the industry. So if you go and you don't know where you want to be, where you should be, and you go and have a headshot taken, like, I mean, you might as well ask your mum to take a picture.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to get out of it what you need to. So
yeah,
kind of
don't lean on the headshot, but it's an option if you're looking to kind of freshen things up a little bit.
They're not cheap, so it's not something you can just go and people help.
Yeah, it's not just an Insta photo shoot, guys. Like, it is a tool. But I think my biggest thing to like veteran people is keep going, and again, enjoy it. Like, we've made it this far. Keep going. Why would you stop? Unless you want to, and also that's totally valid and fine. So
yeah, absolutely. It's okay to change your path. It's also okay to hop off the path and hop back on. It's okay to stay on the path and not leave the path. Like, whatever is right for you at each moment in time, do that. Okay, so let's finish with my question that I always ask everyone at the very end. If you could have dinner with anyone, alive or past, who would it be?
Just one person.
Well, I have let people have more than one, but I mean, if you're going to have a whole army of people, then
you know me, I love a big dinner party situation. No, okay, let's stick with just one. I think it's really hard.
It's a tough one, and I feel like I should prep everyone, but I never do, and I don't think I ever will.
Because I like seeing people suffer. Let me talk through my options. My options are Judi Dench.
Yeah.
There is the surprise option as well of basically the entire cast of Nothing Like a Dame, which is Judi Dench, Joan Plowright, Maggie Smith, and Eileen Atkins, just because banter. And yet on the other side, Julie Andrews.
Yeah.
I think Julie Andrews, I love you, but I'm quite a clumsy person, and I would inevitably spill something and feel awful that I wasn't my best behaviour. I think it's got to be Judi Dench.
Amazing. Judi Dench is an absolute, well, she's an icon.
She is an icon. Like, and I love that. I feel like she's delightfully naughty. I think she's got many a good story. Yeah, we would get hammered on some champagne. Like, yeah.
You'd be in for a cheeky night. I like it. It's a good choice. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And hopefully if you're watching this, you've enjoyed it, you found it insightful. If not, you've just had a wonderful time with Sam and I, if you've not gained anything from this. But hopefully some of the advice, some of the tips that Sam gave, and some of the insights as well into tour life, into his career over the last 9 years, you found inspirational or insightful at the least. If you did enjoy this, then please do share with anyone that you think would enjoy it as well. Like, comment, say hi, we love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe as well, so that you find out first about upcoming episodes, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.